Scum Report. Yes. Hope your breakfast was delicious. I didn't have any breakfast. I was too excited about the third episode. My weekly live podcast, The Scum Report. And as I said about the two shows before this one, it's like MTV News was back in the day when it actually had music videos. This is what this show is like, only it's better. At least I hope so. Alright, first things first, gonna get right after it. Let's talk about Bill O'Reilly. And I don't know if anyone has been paying attention to that. What the fuck? Seriously. Of course, he was ousted from Fox earlier this year. But this story of this woman, and I forget her name. Oh, wait, I do remember. Liz Wheel, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. This asshole paid her $32 million to not go to court. $32 million. Why was he getting paid that amount of money? A reporter, whatever you want to call him, news journalist. That's the problem with our country. Holy shit, $32 million. He paid a woman to not go to court. Just think about that for a minute. And then you find out that he also paid another $13 million to some other women. Before this, $45 million? And now he's suing a guy, Michael Panter from New Jersey, who was a politician at some point, for a Facebook post. And what he said in that Facebook post was that Bill O'Reilly called his ex-girlfriend to solicit information about another woman, shocker, who made a sexual harassment claim against O'Reilly. So obviously where there's smoke, there's fire. This guy's a pig. And it's just funny. He's going to sue a guy for $5 million because of a Facebook post. He's worried about his reputation. His reputation is destroyed. He ain't ever coming back from this. I remember, and this was a while back, I read the story about how he was going to start a podcast, and I made a joke about it. I said, well, good luck with that. It's not as easy as you think. And supposedly it was going to start on a Monday, and I said, he's already behind the 8 ball, because I own Mondays. Yeah, Metal Mondays. Heavy metal always beats Bill O'Reilly every day of the week. And I just want you to remember that money. Remember the amount of it. Total. $45 million that he paid out. It's just, that's ridiculous. These, maybe I should relax a little bit. Or better yet, my favorite drink of the morning. No, not vodka and orange juice. Although that would be nice. Tea. Hot tea. I know, I'm such a rebel, right? Oh, Scumalicious, you and your hot tea. You're so silly. Anyway. If you don't know the story, his late girlfriend, and Catriona White. She committed suicide. Jim Carrey is claiming that this woman falsified some documents about STDs. Her mother and her estranged husband, Mark Burton, filed a wrongful death suit against Jim Carrey, claiming that he obtained the drugs that she used to commit suicide, which is sad. That any way you look at the story, that's sad. This woman committed suicide. But they claim that she obtained the drugs through Jim Carrey, and that she had got 3 STDs from him. And he says she's lying. And it was some documents through Planned Parenthood, and she altered the information on them. He's saying that the paperwork is from one of her friends, and she altered all the information on that to show that she didn't have STDs. And she had 3 of them. She had syphilis, chlamydia, and gonorrhea. And, wow. Just a horrible story. And when I first seen this story, I wasn't really paying a lot of attention to it. Just because I thought, you know what, this lady committed suicide. I don't really care after that. But then when I find out all this other stuff going on behind the scenes, kind of a stupid phrase to use, but anyway, just more Hollywood scum. Yeah, one of my favorite words. It's just like Hollywood right now is so dirty. It really is, with all the these sick fuckers, let's just be honest, that have been molesting and raping women, and this has been going on for a long time. And this is another story. It's just really nasty and dirty out there right now. I don't know where this case is headed. I just know it's ugly, and there's really no winners from this case. Like I said, the woman committed suicide. She's gone. Her mom and her estranged husband ain't getting her back, and that's sad. And then to falsify documents, and it's just crazy. It's a crazy story. So, speaking of Hollywood and dirtbags, James Toback, and I found 3 movies that he directed. Alright, supposedly he has a bunch that he's produced and directed. Not on the same level as asshole Weinstein, but Black and White, 2 Girls and a Guy, The Pickup Artist. Yeah, real box office smashes right there, right? Rachel McAdams, Selma Blair, and Julianne Moore, claiming he was inappropriate with them. And then it turned out to be 38 women. And then later on, reporter Glenn Whipp from the LA Times wrote, it's up to 200 women. So this sick fuck is in the same category as Weinstein as far as being an absolute filthy pig. He's 72 though. He's already lived his life. And that's what I hate. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad that he's getting called out. It just sucks that it's taken this long for it to happen. And I am not in any way blaming the women for that. I know it's hard. It's I know it's not an easy thing to talk about, and the reason that I've been talking about this so passionately over the last 3 weeks since I started this little weekly show here. I have a friend, and hopefully she's listening to this. For 5 years, she was violated. Alright? And I know that's scarred her for life. And just think about all the women and just for a minute, throw all the movies and the money that they make and all that shit to the side. That's just something, when it happens, it will stick with them for the rest of their lives. And when I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, don't stop. And as ugly as all these stories are, let's keep it rolling. And another thing and what I mean by rolling, there's more to come. Weinstein and Toback aren't the only assholes that have been doing this. We know that. And I just hope it doesn't stop. And what I was getting ready to say, the other end of this, and this kind of goes back to the Bill O'Reilly story, where we get these dollar amounts thrown out. And I'm not saying any of these actresses are suing Toback for money or anything like that. But I understand there's going to be some women that are going to ride the coattails of this. It's going to happen. Because, as I said before too, there's a lot of fucking scumballs out there. There are going to be women that say, hey, something happened to me, that didn't. Nothing happened to them. They're just seeing dollar signs. And I just got to keep pounding that point. Forget the small percentage of idiots. Alright? Because I've already seen it. Oh, here we go. Up to 200. About 100 of those bitches are just trying to get money. Just shut up. There's something good that's happening with all this. Women are talking about it, and we're exposing these sick fuckers. And that's what should happen. Keep exposing them, and forget the few idiots that are trying to get something out of it. Just remember the actual victims. That's all I'm saying. I know I won't forget. Especially when it comes to my friend. And there's just so many of these people like this that are in our country walking around. Trust me, probably in their 50s and 60s. No one has any idea that they've ruined tons of lives, because nobody knows that they're a molester or a rapist or just a sick, deviant piece of shit. It's just sickening. Alright, let's go to sports. Got a couple sports stories. And this first one, you can kind of rack it, connect it with the small percentage of idiots that I was talking about. The head coach for the Florida Gators. I don't know a lot about the Florida Gators. I really don't. But they're not having the best season, I guess. And he was getting death threats. I just don't understand that mentality. I see it on Twitter all the time, some of the shit that people write. Football player, drop a pass. Oh, nice job. You get paid $3 million for that. Well, I hope you're in a car wreck. I see shit like that on Twitter, and I'm thinking, what the fuck is wrong with people? Karma is real. All right, you write that shit. I guarantee you something bad is gonna happen to you. It just does. Karma is real, people. But to call somebody and a man and his family and to threaten their life because of a fucking football game? Are you kidding me? I don't understand it. I just don't. And it doesn't stop. It keeps happening. And the weird thing about... No, this ain't weird. It's bullshit. Supposedly the college is saying they didn't know anything about it because the coach had a press conference and they were... like his weekly press conference that he always has. And he mentioned this. And the school said they were surprised because he didn't tell them about it. But the way they stated it, they kind of acted like they thought he was making it up. What the... That's just as bad. Alright? So obviously, whoever runs the athletic department, he must not like the coach either. Because you don't want to back him up when he's saying that people are calling him and his family and making death threats. They should have his back for that. And this sports shit's just out of control. Which takes me to the second story. And that's the basketball player, what's his name here? Joel Berry from North Carolina. Broke his hand, and I think they said he's out for 2 to 4 weeks. Broke his hand over a video game. Can you believe that? Over a video game. What has our world come to? That's what it's come to. And these people, and these 19 or 20, granted, I understand. He's still a young kid. He's got a lot of growing up to do. You're 20 years old, though, and you're throwing a fit over a fucking video game. You got to get a life. You really do. It's really that simple. It really is. Alright. Horror classics. Sorry, plural. I picked 10 of them. And I did the overrated and then underrated. And I just kind of want to go through these 10 classics and do like a quick little review or tell you what I think of them. First one, Halloween. That's my buddy's movie. Jenna Fucalero, David Smith Jones. It really is. When you think of the holiday, Halloween, that's the first movie you think of. And they had all the Friday the 13th movies that copied Michael Myers. He's the original. And that, especially that first Halloween. And you know, I watched the second one the other day. Not that bad. That's a pretty good sequel. You just don't get anything more legendary than Michael Myers. John Carpenter. That dude killed it with Halloween and The Thing. That's another awesome movie that he created. The Shining. That is a creepy movie. Especially the part where Shelley Duvall comes down and there's like a whole giant stack of papers and he's wrote the same thing over and over. You know, dude's losing his mind. But Stanley Kubrick, reading upon the story behind this movie, he was a dick to Shelley Duvall. He treated her like shit on purpose because he said he thought it would bring the best out of her in the scenes. There you go with that. Hollywood is just fucked up. Let's just be honest. That town. They need to, I don't know what they need to do, but yeah, I'm going to treat you like shit because if I treat you like shit, it's going to make you a better actor. Nice mentality to have. Rosemary's Baby. This one, it's more spooky than anything. And the thought of, like, the dreams that she was having, and they weren't dreams, it was actually Satan having sex with her so she would have his kid. Just that thought alone is pretty messed up when you think about it. And some of the acting in there, I watched this one a couple weeks ago. It feels dated, which it should, because it came out, over 40 years ago. But it's still creepy. Anytime you got a cult and just weird people doing fucked up shit, you're gonna have a good horror movie. The Omen, the original, that kid. The one scene that I remember from that that's really messed up is when they're driving past the church and he just flips out and he's throwing a gigantic hissy fit, and Gregory Peck's looking at him like, God, my kid is fucked up. And the one scene where his mom's hanging onto the rail and he just stares at her and she drops, hits the floor, messes up her back, and he just stands there and looks at her. What an evil little bastard. And that one is still pretty creepy when you watch it. And the part where Gregory Peck's friend, where they're investigating all the backstory, and he gets his head decapitated. Yeah. When somebody gets their head decapitated, that's still pretty scary in any decade. No matter what kind of special effects they're using, head decapitation is always very effective in a horror movie. The Exorcist, it's still a fucked up movie. I remember waking up, and my mom didn't want me to watch this movie. She made sure that I couldn't watch it. Well, when I was 5, she fell asleep one night. I snuck out in the living room, and I watched that movie. I did not sleep for like 3 days. Not my mom's fault. It's not. I made that decision myself, and wow, did I regret it. And watching it now, some of it's kind of funny to me. I know I shouldn't be laughing, but the voices that Linda Blair uses and all the crazy shit she says, fuck me, fuck me. Karras, is that the priest? Your mom sucks cocks in hell. Fuck me. No wonder Linda Blair was fucked up for a decade after that. I mentioned this before. Why would her parents let her do a movie like that? Seriously. Oh, you're gonna pay her that? Oh, that's fine. Okay, honey, it's good. They're gonna pay us a lot of money. All you have to do is say a lot of fucked up shit and puke green shit out of your mouth, and you'll be scarred for the next 15 years. But we're gonna make lots of money. Love you. Friday the 13th, the original. Why am I the only one? Because I was reading a lot of the stuff online about this movie. A lot of people don't like Oz overrated, and I get it. Listen, they took Michael Myers, they took that idea, and they used it with Jason. But the first time I watched that, I had no idea that was going to be his mom. I thought that was a nice twist. To me, it actually made the movie more effective. And besides that, how about Kevin Bacon? Like that that giant knife comes up through the bed, through his chest. I thought that was kind of a cool effect. But, and the second one was okay, Friday the 13th Part 2, but after that, it lost me. The one where he's in Manhattan, walking around fighting gangs, really? It turned into it was just goofy after the first couple. Evil Dead 2. And I know this one is not like scary like the original Evil Dead, but the first time I watched that, I was blown away. I was 16. I remember renting it, thinking, holy shit, this is the coolest movie I have ever watched. I still have that on VHS. Boy, that really shows my age. VCRs. Yeah. Screw digital. I got VCR. Or VHS. But Evil Dead 2, they wanted to do that movie, talking about Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, because they had more money. You know, the original was on a limited budget. Gave them a little bit more money. And it's a remake. It's not a sequel. Because there was a couple people I seen online saying, oh, one of the best sequels ever made. No, it's not a fucking sequel. It's a remake, people. Come on. Alright. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And that one lady that survives, for 45 minutes, all she does is scream. You gotta give her credit for that. If you get a chance, go back and watch that movie. The last half of that movie is basically her screaming, which I probably would be too, when you watch people get thrown on a meat hook, and that old guy that they wheel in there, and I thought he was dead. I'll never forget that. First time I watched it, I thought, ooh, that's weird. They're bringing in the dead guy to watch. No, he's alive, because he starts eating her finger or some shit. I can't remember. But holy shit, the dude's like 111, and of course what they're saying is he lived long because he was eating human flesh. Fucked up, man. And it's not a true story. People got to stop that shit. It's based on 3 or 4 stories, and they threw them together. It's not. That never happened. Oh, yeah. It's a true story down in Texas. They uncovered it. A bunch of cars. They're like Ed. I can't remember his last name. Some dude from Wisconsin. Was kind of like the Silence of the Lambs, and then Leatherface was connected somehow with another serial killer, but it wasn't a true story. Yeah. Oh, the Blair Witch Project, that was a true story. People, please. Alright, Nightmare on Elm Street, I never got into any of those. I just wasn't a huge Freddy Krueger fan like some people were. You know, the idea of it is pretty fucked up. You know, people can't go to sleep because he'll, come up and kill them. And especially the first one, that girl, they did a good job of making her look like she hadn't slept in a week. But overall, I just couldn't get into those movies like everybody else did. And Child's Play, the first one, it's so funny. Like Chucky, you can't help but laugh at Chucky, right? Remember when he's on the elevator? And that lady goes, "Ooh, what an ugly doll. Fuck you." I always laugh at that part. I know I have a weird sense of humor. But anyway, the thing about that too, what kid would look at Chucky the doll and go, "Oh, I gotta have one of those for my birthday"? I mean, that lady was right. He is an ugly, scary-looking fucking doll. If either one of my kids were younger and said, "Hey, I want the new Chucky doll," fuck no, you ain't getting that doll. Who would buy that for their kid? That's the question that needs to be asked. And little honorable mention here, a couple movies, I tied them together. Saw, after the first one, it's the same movie over and over. People gotta get through these traps to live, saw body parts to survive. The first one was really good, especially the ending when he gets up and walks. You're like, holy shit, that was a pretty cool ending. But I seen all the reviews for Jigsaw, and it's just more of the same. And didn't he die in the last one? So what is it, like a copycat killer or something? I don't know. But Hostel was the other one. I connected Hostel with Saw. A lot of people say that Saw kind of inspired Hostel, and really, especially the first one, it's a gore fest. These doctors that basically want to chop off body parts. It's not scary. It's just, but there's a scene in there at the end where those kids are in the street and they're trying to get past him, and is it one of the kids or what? No, yeah, it's one of the guys that's chasing. I can't think of the guy's name that gets out of there, and he gets pelted with a rock. Man, they're just denting his fucking head with the rocks. Remember that scene? It's pretty crazy. But overall, Hostel, not a huge Hostel fan. I'm just hostile. Okay, that's pretty stupid. Music time. The Loudwire Awards. I reviewed them on Wednesday, and the thing that I came away from those, and like Stone Sour won Hard Rock Band of the Year, and Avenged Sevenfold was Metal Band of the Year. The one award that I cared about, and it was the Metal Song of the Year from Power Trip, because I like Power Trip, newer thrash band, and they did a live performance, The Executioner's Tax, and they sounded pretty good to me, but the live performances were a mixed bag at best. Whoever was running the sound, I talked about it quite a bit, just shouldn't be allowed to run sound again. Any live venue, mistakes are going to happen. It's just not going to be perfect. That's the way it works. But these bands just sounded rough. And but I'm not going to totally blame the sound guy for some of these bands. In This Moment sang a song called Roots. The woman, and I don't know who she is, sounds out of breath. She's struggling to hit notes. The guitar sounded kind of decent, but once again, the mix wasn't that good. Stuff got drowned out. And her vocals, they had them so high and they were front and center, and she's just not a good enough singer to be in front and center of the rest of the music. Just not. Band called Starset, they newer band that had won some award, I can't remember what it was. Terrible. And it wasn't even hard rock to me. I'm okay if you're going to have hard rock or metal bands, and this is the thing. I love Loudwire. I love their website. Their YouTube channel's awesome. So I'm happy when the music I listen to, when there's an award show dedicated to it, I want to be excited about it, but it's just hard to get excited when they sound like shit, these bands. Another band, Nothing More, I mentioned this, the fucking singer, whoever hit the whole performance, he has his shirt off. I don't know why, it just drives me nuts. It's just like Joe Perry. Every Aerosmith video, he's got to have his shirt on, and he's in the middle of fucking nowhere playing his guitar. No amps, no nothing, just him playing his guitar with his shirt off. And the minute I seen that, it was like instant flashback to that shit. That's just me. So, and like I said, it's kind of a bummer, especially when some metal bands actually get some acknowledgement. The show should just be better than that. That's all I'm saying. And it just wasn't to me. That, wow, not good. And then there's this little thing called Pumpkin Brew, and I believe it's happening today in Huntington Beach, California. I believe Lagwagon's going to play. I know Strung Out's going to be there. No Effects is the headliner. Why am I talking about Pumpkin Brew? Is because Guttermouth was supposed to be on it, but they're not on it, and they posted this on Facebook yesterday. They received an email saying they are not going to play at Pumpkin Brew. That's all it said. Didn't give them a reason, nothing. And I posted this to on NoFX's Facebook page, and I said, okay, Fat Mike, why don't you explain to the fans of Guttermouth why they're not playing? And I had people agree with me, and one guy wrote, well, he won't, because he's a coward and he's a lying bitch. And I think he's right. This goes back a long ways. Alright, 12, 13 years ago. Remember when Guttermouth got kicked off the Warped Tour? Also around that time, Fat Mike was doing this Rock Against Bush thing, right? Made a CD of all these bands singing political shit about hating George Bush. Well, Guttermouth didn't have any part of it. And because of that, and Mark Atkins, you can go see the interviews on YouTube, he was like, Fat Mike quit talking to me because of that shit, because I didn't kiss his ass or any of the bands on the Warped Tour. And he said it's pretty lame because we came up together. They did. Guttermouth and NoFX played a ton of shows together with all the other bands like Rancid, Pennywise, all those bands that I talk about at nauseum. And it has to be. It's Fat Mike doing what he does. He's a fucking whining bitch, and if you don't agree with him, I guess that's how it is. Huntington Beach. Guttermouth is from Huntington Beach. A lot of people bought tickets to see them. I don't know, maybe here in a week or two, I'd like to at least get a statement from him. I mean, don't be, Fat Mike, because he's always talking about, I'm my own boss, I got my own record label, we only tour when I feel like touring, and bands hate me because I'm good at business. Well, you suck at other things, so you need to admit that too. And fucking Guttermouth is 10 times the band NoFX is now, and I hate saying that. Listen, LFA, great guitarist, but Fat Mike, he could take his politics and shove him up his goat-sniffing ass. And the last thing, I'm going to end it with this. And I posted a couple things about this on Facebook. Just sucks. Mike Dirks, ballsack, the jaws of death, that character in War, got diagnosed with myelofibrosis. I'm sure I'm slaughtering that pronunciation of that. And the doctors gave him 3 to 5 years to live if he doesn't get a bone marrow transplant. And for a band that's been through so much shit, and losing guys, important. Well, they're all important. Corey Smoot, Flatus Maximus, passed away in 2010. And they retired that character. And then, of course, Odorous passed away. the main guy behind this band that's been going for 3 decades. And I like the new album. I think it's a great album. I'm not just saying that because I'm being a Gore fanboy. It's a really good album. The first album without Odorous Blothar does an amazing job, in my opinion. But I hate it. I fucking hate cancer. But you know what? I posted this also. I said, you know what? He's going to get a donor, and he's going to get an operation, and he's going to bitch slap cancer and keep on shredding like he always does. He will. And even with all this shit, because the reason he went to the doctors in the first place, he was having extreme fatigue, and they were on the Warped Tour, so they were pretty busy. Well, that's when he found out, and they're going back on tour. I don't think they might not have even taken a break from the Warped Tour. I don't know, but either way, he's going on tour to coincide with the release of the new album. All that shit that's going on, and he's still going to tour with the band. It's awesome. And then I had a couple guys, why are you getting so emotional? It's not like you fucking know the guy. Yeah, I do. Fuck you, I do too. You know, I was trying to figure it in my head. I think it was 1990 when I first started listening to them. That's 27 years. Alright? Yeah, we don't talk. You know, it's not like we email or any of that shit, but I'm a fan, and he's been part of my life for almost 3 fucking decades, so I can be upset about it. Alright? So, just everybody, please keep him in your thoughts. And that's it. Episode 3 in the books. And I stated this last week. It's kind of fun to play newscaster. I just hope everybody enjoys it as much as I do. Probably not, but either way, it's still fun. Alright, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take it easy. And if it's easy, take it twice. I'm out.